What's up, Internet? Kevin here, bringing you guys my review of Gauntlet from Arrowhead Game Studios and Warner Bros. Entertainment, exclusively available on PC. This is meant to be a reboot and proper tribute to the original classic arcade-style beat-em-up Gauntlet, putting players in teams of 4 different heroes in local or online co-op, and throwing them into dungeons filled with waves of enemies, spawning towers, locked doors, and oddly placed freshly roasted turkeys. Now, to be clear, this is meant to recapture the style of the original Gauntlet, not Gauntlet Legends or Dark Legacy, so it's going to be a top-down camera, a very simple dungeon design, and the entire game basically just boils down to 4 friends working together to kill a lot of enemies and compete over who can get the highest score. Now, there are some things that this one definitely does differently from the original Gauntlet though, so let's start talking about those, and we're going to start with the classes. This time around, they are extremely different from one another, rather than just being variants of the same ranged attack style character. This seems like a pretty awesome decision at first because each player has their own unique style and gameplay experience, up until you realize how unbalanced they all are. The elf being easily top tier thanks to extreme damage output via his bombs, and some of the best survival mechanics, including a dodge roll and an auto revive every 100 seconds. After that, you also have the wizard, who offers an interesting spell system and great flexibility, though balanced out a bit by how easily dead he is if you ever fail to pay attention and get insta-gibbed by just a couple of hits. And the Valkyrie, who boasts a great variety of moves, including a block option, dash attack, and ranged shield throw. Then sitting way at the bottom is the warrior, whose biggest strength is his high health count, with really nothing else to fall back on, featuring none of the mobility, ranged, or defense options other classes have, but instead just having 3 different flavors of hitting enemies, and a dash move with a lot of recovery time that can also knock foes down. Now, part of what makes this imbalance really annoying is the fact that the game does not allow players to pick duplicate classes, so when you're playing a full 4-player game, one person's gonna end up being stuck with that warrior and just feeling not as useful as the rest of his party. Now, another big change is the relic system. Instead of just grabbing potions and using them directly as an immediate AoE damage attack, potions are instead used to fuel special relic items that each character can equip 2 of. These relics have a variety of effects, including summoning NPC allies, buffing a character in some way like movement or attack speed, or freeze and slow enemies in an area around you to give you some breathing room. I actually really like how these were handled, because while some are just generally useful, others have very situational uses that make saving potions up for them really worth it. And there's also a bit of variety to consider depending on how big of a team you're playing with as well, with some relics offering more party-focused bonuses like health regeneration. Now, lastly, as far as the new core mechanics go, is the mastery system. Players are able to level up each of the different 4 classes by basically just scoring a number of different achievements, which then net you different passive bonuses. Most of them are pretty straightforward ones, like increased damage against enemies that you've killed so many thousands of, decreased damage from traps that have killed you so many times, or reduced cooldowns for special moves that you've used really often. Though there are a couple slightly more unique abilities each class can unlock, such as the elf's auto revive I mentioned earlier, which is gained by just taking so much total damage. Most of these take a lot of actual game time to unlock fully, and none of them are shared across characters. So if you're the type of person that just likes to play a game till everything is maxed out, there's definitely some time sink in this game for you. So outside of those big 3 things, the rest of the game is very much like old school Gauntlet, albeit a little bit more on the small side. The game currently consists of only 3 zones, each of which has a different aesthetic and group of enemies. Lots of hallways that you can just run through killing stuff in, and spawning towers that just keep pumping enemies out until you destroy them. There is a little bit of key economics going down in this game, though not nearly to the same extent as the older ones. Oftentimes, after picking up a key, there will be a fairly obvious locked door that you don't need to open to progress further, or a room filled with fairly few treasures, with another one coming not so long after with lots more. It's definitely not the most complex or puzzling title out there, but it's very much an intentional decision. Keys should only be wasted when players are being really dumb or just accidentally open a door by getting too close to it, while most of the time, the party is focused solely on getting through the dungeon and killing as much stuff as possible. Now, like I said, the game only has 3 zones, which really doesn't amount to that much game time for a single playthrough. It's very easy to just start the game with a group of 4 people, and with 1 day's work, get through the whole thing. But what helps to salvage this is just how replayable the game is and how easy it is to jump in. Assuming you're playing with friends, you can always shuffle around classes to try a full run as each one. You can tackle the game's higher difficulty settings, including a modestly hard mode and the ridiculous unfair mode featuring hordes of enemies and golden food you can't eat, and of course, there's just always the chance to play with new friends if they ever pick the game up. It's also worth noting that in true arcade fashion, there is a scoring system that makes it so that even when players are working together, they're still competing to try and grab the most kills, pick up gold faster than one another, and fight over a crown that occasionally spawns, which grants bonus points to whoever finishes the level wearing it. These scores also get ranked online based on party size, with single player levels having some pretty silly numbers already due to the fact that the game has no time limiting factor, but 3 and 4 player games have some much more competitive numbers. Now, one negative thing I want to touch on really quick is the game's UI, which could definitely use with an overhaul. To begin with, not all player info is available in-game. The only place you can check what masteries you've unlocked and what others are available is by checking a menu in the title screen. As soon as you enter a game, there is zero way to do it then. More annoying, however, is the character's health bars, which goes over the actual gameplay, lining up at the bottom of the screen, which, if you're in a full 4-player game, is fairly large in size and will end up blocking your view of your character on occasion if you ever have the sad misfortune of being the guy at the bottom of the screen. So to sum things up, Gauntlet definitely has its share of problems, including UI issues, character imbalance, and an overall lack of length, but at the same time offers an extremely addictive 4-player beat-em-up co-op experience. It does have its negatives for sure, but there's something about the simplicity and low time sink per level that just makes it a lot of fun for the occasional pickup game. I'm curious to see if any expansion content is made available in time, considering Arrowhead's history with DLC, Magicka in particular coming to mind, which just might expand and fix the whole experience into something much more sizable. As it stands now, I still think the game is actually worth its low asking price of $20 if you have friends willing to play it with you, and if possible, it's even better if you can get a whole group of friends behind it for a 4-pack, dropping the game's price down to $15 per player. Well, that was my review of Gauntlet. Thanks for checking it out. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button to let me know, as well as subscribing if you haven't yet. I've got a couple links of interest posted down below in the description, including my Twitter profile, and a way to pick up a copy of the game for yourself if you're interested. I hope to see you guys soon with more content, but until then, I'm Kevin Kenson, and I'll see you later.